On the day of her 18th birthday, the girl decided to cryogenically freeze herself for 30 years. The doctor handed her a death certificate, indicating that in a week, she would completely disappear from this world. However, it was only after the girl signed the confirmation that the doctor realized he had caused trouble. As it turned out, the girl undergoing the freezing experiment was none other than their boss's daughter. Once the agreement was signed, there was no possibility of going back on it, and she could only return to the world after 30 years. The girl was originally the adopted daughter of a wealthy family, with 3 doting brothers and parents. Until the day her adoptive parents found their biological daughter, all the love that had belonged to her was transferred to their biological daughter. The girl lost everything overnight. The scheming girl, unsatisfied with the current situation, deliberately pretended to fall from upstairs, to drive her out of the house, and then slandered the girl for pushing her. When the whole family learned about it, they didn't investigate the truth of the matter and instead beat her up. Even her 3 brothers thought they shouldn't have brought her home in the first place. Only then did the girl realize that for so many years, she had been nothing more than a stand-in for the scheming girl. Now that the original had returned, there was no need for her to stay in this family. Knowing that her eldest brother had not yet found a volunteer for the 30-year freezing plan, she went to her brother's lab in despair and decided to become the first volunteer, considering it a way to repay the family for raising her. 3 days after signing all the agreements, she would completely disappear from this world. On the way back, her congenital hypoglycemia suddenly acted up, and this scene was witnessed by the scheming girl and her 3 brothers, who happened to be going to the hospital for a physical examination. Just as the eldest brother was about to get out of the car, he was stopped by the scheming girl, who pretended to have a heart attack. Even the second and third brothers thought the girl must be faking it, so they lowered the car window, and told her viciously to go away and pretend to be dead. The girl couldn't believe that her brothers, who had once risked their lives to protect her, would say such vicious words. She couldn't hold on any longer and fainted. Afterward, she saw her 3 brothers coming to the hospital to visit her with concern and worry on their faces. Just as she was moved, she realized that all this was nothing but an extravagant dream. It turned out that the housekeeper had found her while out buying groceries, and had taken her to the hospital. At this time, her adoptive parents also rushed over in a hurry, but when they saw it was their adopted daughter, they realized they had entered the wrong room. They had actually come to visit the scheming girl next door, who was pretending to have a heart attack. Seeing her parents' departing figures, she cried with grievance. At this moment, the scheming girl deliberately sent her a link, which turned out to be a live broadcast of the scheming girl in the hospital. Seeing this, she thought she could just endure it, but she never expected that when she was discharged from the hospital and returned home, she would find that her room had been occupied by the scheming girl. Her brother also thought that since she had suffered outside for so many years, it was only natural for the girl to vacate the room. She thought that living in the damp storeroom, she could spend the remaining days in peace, but the next day, the scheming girl killed her beloved cat. The girl could no longer bear it, and grabbed the scheming girl's neck, demanding an explanation, but when her brother saw it, he pushed the girl away and blamed her for not taking good care of her cat. Hearing her brother's words of blame, she completely despaired at that moment. Thinking that tomorrow she could leave this family forever, she decided not to dwell on it anymore. Soon, the last day arrived, which was also the day she would leave forever. Today was also the celebration banquet for the sleep plan, because from the beginning until now, no one had been willing to be a volunteer. Now that someone was willing to be this volunteer, how could they not celebrate? The scheming girl, in order to completely drive the girl out of this family, deliberately called her blind second brother to eat barbecue. Just as she had anticipated, at this critical moment, the girl hurried over to support her brother, but the scheming girl deliberately stretched out her leg and tripped the girl, trying to frame her for everything.